Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. So today we'll be talking about the 2020 presidential election in Texas, and just doing one of these analysis videos. And I kind of did this with Florida, where I said, how can Democrats win Florida in the future? Plugging in numbers from different candidates. So we're going to do a similar thing with Texas. So essentially, Donald Trump won Texas by a larger margin than expected for most forecasters. He won it by 5.6%, if my math is right, and if I'm not joking right now. But yeah, he won by 5.6. So a lot of people, we can, talk about people who said Texas would go blue, like, lean toss up, for example, had Texas as a Biden plus 3 state with him having a 75% chance of winning it. So we can talk about that. But in reality, most forecasters said Texas would be a red state, but not by a very big margin. Like traditionally, since the 90s, Republicans have been running the score, or have been really running it up in Texas. I mean, Barack Obama, who was a once-in-a-generation candidate in 2012, he lost the state of Texas by 16%. Even more conservative Democrats in the past, like Al Gore and John Kerry, both lost Texas by like 20 points or 30 points. So Texas has been a red state for at least the past 30 years, I'd say. And the last time a Democrat won it was in 1976 with Jimmy Carter, who won it over Gerald Ford. It was still close, though. He won it by 3%, even though it doesn't really look close. But Ford came pretty close to winning it, but Carter ended up narrowly carrying the state. So, yeah. Now, and we'll talk about this in a second, but I just want to say, I was, just take a moment to brag here. I was the only one that I know. There were calls that I'm very proud of. I said Michigan Senate or was going to be just under a 2% margin of victory for Gary Peters. I nailed the Michigan Senate race. So obviously, I'm proud of those calls. I'm not so proud of my other calls, like calling, Montana Senate a toss-up, or saying that Maine was essentially almost guaranteed to flip. So I had my good calls and my bad calls, but I think Texas was a call I'm pretty proud of. I mean, for example, I was the only forecaster that rated as likely Republican other than Ready Eagle Politics, and I said that Trump was going to win it by just over 5%. He won it by 5.6. So I think I was pretty accurate in Texas. And I essentially said, Biden is going to improve on Clinton's margins, especially in the suburbs of Dallas and Houston, like Williamson County. I think he was the first Democrat to win it since Jimmy Carter. Tarrant County, which I believe he flipped from 2016, if I'm correct. Am I correct? Yes, he did flip Tarrant County from 2016. So, yeah. However, I said that, he can make these improvements, and that's why he's going to do better than Hillary Clinton did. I mean, statewide, but he's not going to flip it, and he's going to lose by 5%. And he'll lose by 5% because he's not going to do as well as Clinton did in these areas near the border. I mean, Zapata County is a big example of how bad Biden did along the border. I mean, he lost it by 5.4%, and this was a very solid county for Hillary Clinton, or not very solid, but she won it by, but she won it by, it was very solid. I mean, she won it by 33, and then it flipped to Donald Trump 4 years later. So he saw a 38-point swing to the right, and if you want to compare that from shift from 2016, look at how big that red arrow is going to be. I mean, look just down here. All of these areas near the border just swung to the right big time. I mean, Starr County was 55 points more Republican than 2016. I mean, Biden won it by 5%. I'm trying to find where Starr would be. Starr County, that was Starr County over here. That was a, Clinton plus 50 district or county. So a lot of these counties swung hard to the right, and it was incredible. Now, like I said, Tarrant County, or what was Tarrant County? Was 9 points more. It was 9 points more Democrat than 2016. In a lot of these counties up here, like near Dallas and Houston, Williamson County, was 11 points more Democratic. So a lot of areas swung to the Democrats, but in the South, which where Democrats have traditionally been running up the score, they just could not do that. And Biden even lost Zapata County. He couldn't run it up in Starr County, which was, like I said, a 50-point Clinton county. So that's what he couldn't have done. Now, let's do the what-if scenario. And, what if Joe Biden got the Clinton numbers in Texas? Now, I don't want to look like an idiot here, because I'm going to use a calculator. Am I screen recording on these other tabs? I better be. Okay, I'm good. So just going to go calculator, just that I don't make any mathematical mistakes. So yeah, I'm also going to be cutting out. Parts where I use the calculator. Also, why did I open that tab? Okay. So yeah, let's get started. So essentially, starting, I'm just going to take a look at. Let's move this over here. Take a look at some of the areas where Clinton did all right compared to Biden. I mean, like Brewster County, where she only lost by 4.8%. Biden lost that county. Actually, he didn't do horrible there. Valverde County, which was a Clinton county. Clinton won that county by nearly 8%. Joe Biden lost the county of Valverde by 10%. So we saw an 18-point swing to the right about that. So essentially, Biden got 6,700 votes here. He probably got more than Clinton because of the higher turnout. No, he got a little less. So essentially, let's plug in the Clinton numbers from Valverde, and I'm going to cut this part out because you don't want to see me typing numbers into a calculator. So essentially what happens is you give him the Clinton numbers in these, southern, or I guess border touching areas near the border. In, Valverde County, just Maverick County, Dimmitt County, Webb County, Zapata County, and Starr County. And Biden improves, obviously, and he turns the state into a lean Trump state as opposed to a likely Trump state. But, some of these, like Zapata County saw 50, or not 50, like a 35-point swing to the right, if I recall correctly, but it only has 4,000 voters. Yeah. So it narrows up, but it's still not enough to win Texas. So I do think that Biden was never in a position to win Texas, just to put that out there. So, yeah. Now, let's take a look at the Senate race between MJ Heger and John Cornyn very briefly. So Heger actually did it was expected that Heger would run behind Joe Biden. She ended up losing by 11%, which is close to a safe margin. Biden lost by 5%, so she did do a lot worse than Biden. She did worse in Tarrant County, which is a big county. She did worse in Williamson County, which is another big one. She also, I think, did worse than Biden in Bastrop County and Caldwell County. Biden did better than in those counties, but she did better actually in Zapata County. She ended up winning that by 10.8%. Biden lost it by 5. She did better in Valverde County. No, she did not. She did about the same. But she did better along these more Hispanic-heavy areas. I don't know if that's because she just had more of an appeal to them, and Cornyn was less charismatic than Trump to them. I don't know, but I think that Cornyn did well with Hispanics for Republican because he's the incumbent, and because Heger was a bad candidate. I don't want to do that. So yeah, it's also worth noting that Hispanics, obviously, we all essentially knew that Trump was going to do at least somewhat better than he did in 2016 with Hispanics, but really, that shouldn't be a surprise because Hispanics always turn out for the incumbent more than they did the first time. So Obama did better with Hispanics than in 2008 or in 2012 and 2008. George Bush did better with Hispanics in 2004 than 2000. Bill Clinton did better with Hispanics in 1996 than 1992. So, excuse me. I just woke up. So, yeah. Now, Texas, I do think, is not going to flip in 2024. If I had to rate it, I'd say it's lean Republican. I'd say it's going to go to the GOP by in between 2 and 4%. But we'll have to see who the candidates are. I mean, if the Democrats run Julian Castro and the Republicans run, I don't know. I'm trying to think of who a bad candidate. But, Julian Castro could flip Texas. I don't think Beto O'Rourke has a political future after his AK-47 comment or his AR-15 comment. Yes, we're going to take your AK-47s. Yes, we're going to take your AR-15s. And, I don't think that's going to work in Texas. So I think he kind of threw away his hopes of trying to have a rematch in 2024 with Ted Cruz. So, yeah. But, speaking of the 2018 Senate race, I should actually do 2018 Senate race, because 2018 Senate race in Texas. I should actually look that up. Here we go. So Ted Cruz ended up winning it by a lean margin, but it was still a lot closer than people thought. Now, as you can see, Beto O'Rourke did a lot better with Hispanic heavy areas, probably because he is Hispanic. Zapata County, he won by essentially Clinton type numbers, even though Ted Cruz actually did. Ted Cruz actually was a Hispanic, so the fact that Beto O'Rourke outperformed Joe Biden by 40 points in this county says a lot. He also won Williamson County narrowly. He won Tarrant County, and uh, he essentially did what the Democrats needed to do in Texas. Run it up, especially in these areas that are by the border, and win Tarrant County, win Williamson County, do better in Dallas County, do better in Travis County, do better in the Houston areas like Harris County. So, he did do that, and he still lost by a lean margin. So Texas, I don't think right now is winnable for Democrats, but I think in 4 years it's going to be competitive for them. By 2028, I think it's going to flip. So if you came to this video, trying to figure out when I think Texas is going to flip, I think it's going to flip in 2028. I think it'll be till Democrat in 2028. I think whoever the Democrats run is going to win it by like 1% to 2%. We'll have to see though. But really. As you can see, Joe Biden didn't do well here in these areas near the border, and even giving him the Clinton numbers, he still doesn't win it. So, yeah. Now taking a look at the 1970s, just briefly, the 1976 election in Texas. This is the last time a Democrat won. As you can see, just to pull this up, I doubt the New York Times has interactive election results for this, but Jimmy Carter did very well along the border. He also did better. And he actually had a very wide coalition of support, but he did better in some of these suburban areas. He also was able to win some of these rural areas, but he split them more with Ford. Whereas today, Democrats lose every rural area except for Vermont, New Hampshire. In 1980, Ronald Reagan won it though pretty easily over Jimmy Carter. As you can see, these areas in the western part of the state swung hard to the right. Then he won it by a big margin in 1984. Where essentially the only place that Mondale did well in was just this area by the border. He couldn't even win some of these counties like El Paso County. 1988, it was another solid state for the Republicans. Dukakis did better, but he still couldn't win. As you can see, it's starting to become clear that the Republicans are doing well up here, but the Democrats are doing better by the border. That holds true in 1992, where Bill Clinton lost it to George H.W. Bush, and in 1996. He came a little closer to winning it. No, he didn't come a little close. He did a little worse, but he still, as you can see, he still carried this area down here. And then 2000, Al Gore got destroyed in Texas, but he still did very well, with voters down here. And as you can see, he just did horribly up here. And in the, where is that? Is that Austin? No, I don't want to look like an idiot. Oh, it is Austin. I was right. But in Austin, whoops, I don't want to save that. But in Austin, he was able to win the county that Austin's in, so that's interesting. In 2004, John Kerry did a little better, see a little bit of a trend here. Then 2008, it narrowed up significantly. I mean, Obama did over 5 points better than Kerry, but Obama still lost Tarrant, he still lost Williamson, so Biden did a lot better than Obama in these regions. And then it swung hard to the right in 2012. As you can see, Romney won it by 16%. So yeah, and then in 2016, narrowed up significantly. Clinton, she did better with Hispanics, but she still couldn't win Tarrant. She couldn't win Williamson. So yeah, and then in 2020, Biden, as you can see, did a little better, but he did horribly compared to other Democrats of the past in these areas near the border where you have high Hispanic populations. He still won because Hispanics are still Democrats, but they just didn't come out for him the way they did for Clinton and Obama, etc. So that's it. So in conclusion, I do think that the Democrats are going to win it by 2028. I think that to win it, they need to do three things. One, they have to keep their gains in the suburbs and eventually make Denton and Collin County toss-ups. They kind of already are. Collin County is only like Tilt Republican County. They need to actually do better with Hispanics down here. Obviously, they can't have another Biden-esque performance. Otherwise, they can kiss winning Texas goodbye. And then lastly, they have to run it up in Travis County, which is where Austin is. They have to run it up in Dallas County, which is where Dallas is. They have to run it up in Harris County, which Biden did not do as well as I expected there. Fort Bend County is another county where they should be winning by like 15% or around that. So yeah, so thanks for watching this video, guys. I know this is kind of rushed. I'm going to try to improve the video quality next time, but I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.